couple of companies. Syngene International has done well in trade after reporting what was a good Q1 performance. The company reported steady revenue and EBITDA growth on a year-on-year basis, but the margins did slip sequentially. Jonathan Hunt, the MD and CEO of Syngene International, joins in now to discuss the numbers. Mr. Hunt, thank you very much for joining in. Well, it's been a good over 20% growth on a year-on-year basis in terms of revenue. Can you tell us what the contribution of the Zoitist partnership was this quarter and what is the scale-up expected?
Sure. As you know, we signed that deal last year. We said that it would take us a few months to build up, and it was a $500 million deal over 10 years. Simple mathematics, divide by 10 gets you a $50 million per annum, and we're running it around that at the moment from that particular part of it. But that's just one of many things going on within the business. The revenue growth was 26% for the quarter, not 20, as you said.
Over
so
20%.
Pretty solid. Yeah. I know. But 26% on the top line, 25% growth of the revenue from operations. And then we saw that go all the way down through the P&L. There's similar sort of growth at the EBITDA and the PAT line. So pretty much where we expected to be, online for our full year guidance, but pretty good performance. I was very happy with the quarter.
So what is the contribution from the Zoitist partnership that we can expect, and when do you expect it to probably peak? Any numbers, any details you can share with us?
No, there isn't. We don't break it out by individual client, individual project. With 450 active clients in any given time, I've got hundreds of beyond that of individual projects. It wouldn't be right to break it out. But I did try and answer the question. I told you, look at around $50 million per year, and we're on track for that.
Right. What about Librela? I mean, how much would that be in terms of...
That's the same thing.
All right, that's the same thing. But if you could give me a sense... Right. If you could give me a sense of, the kind of currency impact that you had on your top line this time around, and has it stabilized now?
Yeah. 26% top line growth with currency, 19% growth on a constant currency basis. So 7% of the top line came from the currency impact. We've seen quite a lot of movement between the rupee and the dollar over the last year or so, so you can bridge it. That's actually why we gave guidance for the full year on a constant currency basis. We said high teens, we came in at 19% for the quarter, so we're absolutely on track, and then we've got a boost beyond that from currency.
Okay, all right. So, so high teens is what you're looking at, and you're on track to do that. And by the way, it is a very good performance given this 26% top line growth that you've seen. So let's move on to talk about this Stelis facility as well that you acquired. You said that you're looking to invest an additional 100 crores to repurpose and revalidate this plant. How will that be funded? And, on the Stelis plant itself, what are the kind of costs that you're looking at?
Yeah, so it's the whole deal is funded out of the cash reserves. We're perfectly capable of self-funding that out of our operating profits. I really should say a little bit more about the strategy behind it. As you know, we took the decision some years ago to rebalance Syngene as a company. We'd always been research services focused. We thought we would forward integrate into development and manufacturing, this notion of becoming a twin-engined business. And in doing that over the last 5-6 years, you've seen us invest in development and manufacturing, small molecules, large molecule. We see that as an integrated play. And we've seen a lot of growth. The Zoitist deal was one element of that. So we've seen our biologics really take off over the last 18 months to the point where we're starting to bump our head against a capacity ceiling. And I took the decision to bring forward what would have been an organic build-out, i.e. building our own biologics plant. And we saw a very good opportunity with Stelis. They had a plant that was no longer fitting what they needed. They built that as part of the pandemic response. So it was built to be a vaccines plant to make a COVID-19 vaccine. As we've seen, thankfully, the COVID pandemic sort of recede. They didn't need it. So good fit for us. And what a plant that's designed to make vaccines is quite capable of being retooled to make antibodies and biologics. So we'll put another 10 million US dollars, around 100 crore rupees, just to make that transfer, and that should be done beginning of next financial year.
Okay, beginning of next financial year. And you said that that is a part of your strategy, both to expand organically as well as inorganically. So can you take us through a little more about what the the big triggers, the positive triggers for the company could be? I understand that you've acquired 17 acres of land in Hyderabad as well. What will that be put to use for?
Well, that's for the research services. So think of Syngene now as being a research services business and a development manufacturing business. Those two flow together in time. So what you first discover, you later develop and manufacture. We do that in partnership with our clients around the world. The acquisition of land in Hyderabad, recall we opened up in Hyderabad about 3 years ago, just before the pandemic. We've been through 3 very quick phases of expansion. We're now up to about 900 scientists in Hyderabad, and we were running out of building space. We were running out of lab space. So we decided to buy some land, and that really de-risks it. That's going to give us all the space we need, I would have thought, for at least the next 5 years to build new laboratories and keep expanding that campus as we see market demand. So that's what that's for. And in some ways, Stelis acquisition is the equivalent on the manufacturing side. It brings us headroom for growth.
Okay. Mr. Hunt, just a quick 2-part question. The API facility in Mangalore, which is now US FDA approved, how much do you expect it to contribute in terms of a percentage of sales, and by when? And 2, about the Zoitist contract. I know you can't talk about numbers, but has it opened the door for more such contracts that you could probably be negotiating for and which we could hear on?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can disclose, but we're in everyday conversations with clients around the world. In that facility, we have an FDA-approved biologic that's being manufactured. That's a sign of quality of an organization, so that certainly opens the door for discussions. And in some ways, that's what's just happened for the API facility in Mangalore. Having now passed FDA approval, they're amongst the most stringent regulators in the world. So if you pass that and meet their standards, that's a real sign of quality to the market. So we'll be starting those conversations every day from now on.
Okay, all right. We will leave it at that. Thanks a lot for joining in, and all the best with all the plans that you have for FY24. We'll try and touch base with you again through the course of the year. Well, that's Syngene up almost 5%. Let's tip it to a quick break. On the other side,